Okay, let's talk about wrinkles in fabric. But first, a little bit of science. Wrinkles are the fabric reaction to the forces around it. It is the fabric trying to occupy the space given to it. So before you draw your wrinkles, try to identify the forces happening in your drawing.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
Wrinkles are shapes in themselves. They make sense in the context they are. Understand the forces involved and it will be possible to deduct them. Fine, let's get practical. Imagine a fabric tube, right? Like a sleeve or a pants leg. Now let's bend it. Yeah, whatever. You don't need to be a wrinkle expert to see that this is wrong. And it is wrong because this is not a metal tube. In metals, the red area has its molecules crunched, and in the blue area it has its molecules stretched out. But that's not what happened in fabric. Let's imagine a cross-section of our sleeve. Can you see this red line? When we stretch the fabric, this length remains the same. It's not being crunched like the metal. What you are seeing is exactly the fabric trying to occupy the space given to it, like I said in the beginning of the video. And if we look at a different angle, we will see something more like this. Other example that works with the same physics is when you have your arm putting down under your armpits. It is the same thing, but in another context. And one more example, but in another direction, because here we don't have just one direction.
You're insecure.
Let's move to another situation, this time a pretty straightforward one, the twist. And I say that is pretty straightforward because, come on, who never twisted a piece of cloth before? Anyway, here are some examples where you can see this in real life. Now let's twist! The next situation is when the fabric is like enjoying life, just hanging around, seeing the sunset, just lazy. Let's imagine a ball, sphere. Now let's put some piece of cloth on top of it. You don't need to be a genius to know that this is wrong, right? And this is wrong because fabric, piece of cloth, they are bidimensional shapes. They are two-dimensional things. And when they are obliged to occupy two-dimensional spaces, then the wrinkles come up. So in this case, what you will see is something more like this. Even if we shrink our ball to a single point, the physics remains the same. And if we hang our cloth in 2 points, now you can see better the action of gravity. So in the end of the day,
The sun goes down.
what you have to pay attention is the forces happening in the fabric. There is no proportions, there is no fundamental construction behind, because each circumstance in every situation you have different behaviors of the fabric, so you need to have a lot of references, and when looking at them, try to see what is happening, where and why is pulling, pushing, stretching, another verbs that I don't know, doing things with the tissue, fabric, cloth, I don't know the words too, and you need to understand it, because if you don't, it will be hard to predict them.
Alright.
Time for some tips. First of all, thicker fabric tend to have bigger wrinkles. And why is that? Because it is thicker. Second, when drawing people, it's always a good idea to draw first them naked. Okay, you don't need to draw every single detail because you want to cover with their clothes, but it's important for you to draw the shapes, because with that you can cover knowing what's happening below. Well, that's it for today, guys.